Hello?
Hey, buddy?
Who's this?
Buddy?
Who is it? Hold on, let me turn the TV down. I can't hear you. All right, who's this?
Hey, buddy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Who's this?
Buddy, my name is Thomas Bell. I got the number online.
Do what? Oh, you did? Okay.
Thomas Bell. I got the number online. I saw your story.
Oh, okay.
I was actually just curious about it, and I was asking you, do you really believe all that stuff happened? I'm not trying to get in your business, but, I mean, you get a pretty crazy story.
Well, you know, I'll tell you right. You know, I don't ask anybody to believe me, but I got $2,000 on, you know, of disability money online, pictures of dirty cops. You name them, I'll give you the money. That's how real what's going on is. And past that, there ain't much discussion if anybody wants to say anything different. Because I got pictures of dirty cops caught in my house covering up a murder attempt with a $2,000 reward. That's never happened before in the history of America. And if it's...
Well, buddy, let me just tell you this. First of all, I'm not doubting you. I saw your story, and I looked up your number, I mean, to be honest.
Right.
I just wanted to call and ask you about it. I'm not any reporter or anything. I'm just a citizen. And I thought it was pretty wild. And at first, to be honest with you, I thought, well, this is some crazy guy. But I looked through your stuff, and it looks like you have a lot of really substantiated stuff.
Exactly.
So I was just kind of curious. You know, I mean, with everything you said, I think it's pretty wild, you know, that nobody's listening to you.
Well, no. See, that's where you're wrong. You know, people say that a lot. They go, if they take you serious, if they listen to you. That's not the case. Because I have pictures.
Well, everybody, I'm not saying that disrespectfully. I'm talking about the authorities.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about, too. The authorities, they're taking me very serious because there's a group of police that go to prison for the rest of their law-breaking, murdering lives, you see. And so that's why they're victimizing the victim here. And that's why they're playing stupid when the evidence is on my side. You know, the truth, and I'm the first to say the story's crazy, but the evidence is real clear that I'm not, and you know, the facts are the facts, you know, and more than that, I tell this all the time, there's only two places that you ever have secret police, Nazi Germany and Midland, Texas, okay, and this is the one.
Hey, buddy, let me tell you this though, don't get defensive with me. I'm not saying what you're saying is not real. I'm just saying it was kind of out there a little bit, and that's why I'm calling you. So please don't think I'm some asshole calling you, not believing you. I'm just saying with the authorities, it seems like they're not taking you seriously.
They are taking me very, very serious. Because how can you not? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can't because as I keep repeating myself over and over, I have pictures of a group of police and they don't have names. Okay. And two of them do. Okay. And let me tell you a little bit what you probably haven't seen, you know, because it takes a while to go through all the information. That the one recognized secret police, Rosie Rodriguez, she was childhood friends with the primary beneficiary on my life insurance policy. And that person took my life insurance booklets the month before I was shot. Okay. Her friend. And what happened is I crawled out, okay, and there's a video on that. I screamed for help. You can see the lights go off in the car sitting in my driveway. That proved without a doubt, that's photographic video evidence, somebody was at my house. And you know, and here I'm crawling out to save my life. I'd been ambushed and shot. And so that's in one of the videos. And then minutes later, the first two secret police arrive. My attorney dispatched the police reports. They wasn't dispatched. Not even a $2,000 reward can figure out who they are. And within 20 minutes, they had the cameras disabled on my house. I had just been ambushed and shot in my house. And more than that, 2 weeks before that, I had called and reported a suspected tunnel to the DEA, which I always put down the phone number. So, cause all you have to do is check the phone records. This is a fact. Okay. So what's that tell you? It tells you somebody at the DEA is basically setting people up to be murdered when they call in and report crime. That's what it says. And so I'm at the hospital. The nurse documents me saying, proof is at my house. Proof is at my house. Okay. And that was different than what these dirty cops put in their report. Because what they put in their report was, Buddy said he was locking up for the night, knocked his gun over and shot himself. Except what the nurse said is what I said was burglar alarms were going off. I was under home invasion and I had proof of it on a voice recorder. It's at my house. And so what they did was come sneaking into my house and they accidentally started the camera. Okay.
But let me ask you this. I did some research on the area and it looks like you've done, more research than I could ever do. But there's a house there that I don't know if right now, but in the past, on Fair Circle Drive, I think that's where you're at.
Right. There's
last name Martin, and I know that there was a drug dealer that used to live down the street. If my research is right on Fair Circle, so have you connected anything with maybe a drug dealer? You think anything that is tied to a drug dealer down the street with the last name Martin?
Okay.
That name,
okay.
might not be right, but Thomas Martin kind of rings a bell. Does that make any sense to you?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Because as you said, nobody's given this more thought than me. Okay. So what we're talking about is 3811 Fair Circle. It's the corner home. Okay. That home got sold. Okay. The Martins moved out of it in 2014, 2015. You can look that up on the MidCAD on the appraisal district. And
right.
Okay. And so there was reason I suspected people in that house as well as some of the other homes around here too. But one thing is that the neighbor that is to my west, which is across the street or directly to my west, 3804, which is Tulan Nguyen, a Vietnamese name. She saw a person in her house in 2014. She had a home invasion. Okay. And so the police were come over, they investigated all this, and they figured out with fingerprints, she told me this, that it was somebody from the Martin house that had broken her home. Okay. Now, I suspected that possibly the entrance, because it's not a what-if could-be deal here. It's absolutely sure. I mean, I got a half dozen people documented telling me there's an underground facility here. You know what I mean? I mean, that's more than one person, more than two person, not to mention the evidence backs it up. It's here. Okay? And so I've suspected that maybe in that house, 3804, which is next door, that there might be an underground entrance. And the people there that were 3811 were going to the house at 3804 and going down. I don't know that. All I know is she told me that there was a burglary. The police come over that day. I was here when that happened. And it's documented on my Facebook.
Buddy, do you think those drug people, do you think that maybe they were just kind of pawns and didn't know what was going on in that house? Because it could have been an entrance to your place or the tunnel around the neighborhood, or they could have just been stupid and had no idea. What do you think?
See, there's things I don't know, but based on what people have told me, on what I've documented, prank Scotland, and recorded phone calls, there's a $1 million underground facility here. Okay, 2 people have told me that. One person, I've got it recorded on a phone call. Okay. So that's not a little facility. This one person tells me there's 4 3-bedroom homes costing $1 million each, 25 foot deep. I got specific details. Okay. So this is not a little operation. And I figure anybody that lived in this small cul-de-sac where there's only 9 homes off a dead end street, that when it was done, when the construction's gone, knows about it. Okay. And so I think it's much bigger than one house, one tunnel, one break-in type deal. Now, I will say, you're talking about the drug stuff. I used to listen to the police scanner, and there used to be calls at the Martin house, on the police scanner. And I think somebody overdosed there one day, and I remember hearing a police scanner call, and the son and the grandson are out on the patio shooting up drugs or whatever. That come off the police scanner. I heard it. So they were definitely doing drugs over there. Okay. But they've been gone for a year and a half, 2 years. And so I think that, it's bigger than that, and I'll tell you what, this person, of course, I was married to a person for 3 months, separated less than a month before I shot. Her ex-boyfriend contacted me 8 months later, and
wait, buddy.
Yeah.
You were only separated for a month?
Less than a month. She's the one that took my life insurance booklet. She's the one that is childhood friends with Detective Rosie Rodriguez that snuck in my house and stole the evidence.
Well, goddamn, that seems question to me if y'all were only separated that amount.
Well, wait a minute. I got even more because it's on my Facebook. Her boyfriend, this ex-wife's boyfriend, contacts me 8 months later, and he says, "You think so-and-so had anything to do with it?" I don't call her name out. And so I said, "Well, I think she was in Lubbock at the time, and, I think she knows who did and whatever." And he writes back and he says, "I think she had a lot to do with it from what she told me, and she threatened to have me killed too." Okay, so I took a print screen of that conversation, and that's on my Facebook right now. So it's not.
Where the hell is that crazy girl at?
And
now?
it's well, and I'm not sure. And I'll tell you what else happened. 18 months after I'm shot, okay, and all this happened, I get served with a protective order, okay, from her, okay, and I hadn't talked to her in a year and a half, and she lived in Lubbock. Okay, so I go to court, and that document I'm telling you about, where her boyfriend said that she was involved, etc., right, and got submitted as evidence, and the ruling come back and gave me a lifetime protective order and took away my right to own guns for life. I'm serious, okay?
Well, hell, you're the one that got shot.
Yeah, and more than that, I mean, keep in mind, I was 28-year company employee, never had a felony, led the United Way drive. I'm a stand-up, model citizen,
But what kind of record did she have compared to yours if you were a company man like that? What kind of record?
Well, I mean, she didn't have no bad record either, but basically it was just a sham is what it was. And so, see, what they did is...
What do you think she had to do with it? Because that doesn't make no sense.
Yeah, well, it does make sense because what they're trying to do was terrorize me out of my house. Because at that point, then I'm defenseless and disabled, and I'm having people break into my house, and I'm getting death threats. Okay? They desperately want me out of this house. Desperately, because it has an underground facility right here within a half block away, right? And it puts a group of dirty cops in prison for life. And so that's a break in the law. Actually, it's called the Hobbs Act. You can't terrorize, say if you want to buy a home and you just pay off some dirty cops and go, "I'm going to terrorize this person until they move out of that house so I can buy that home." That's against the law.
Buddy, how long ago did this happen, buddy?
January 28, 2012 is when I was shot. The last burglar alarm to go off that I filmed and put on YouTube was about a week ago.
Oh my goodness!
It's happened hundreds of times. They have one.
Sleep at night, buddy.
One guy, I bolted my door shut, and I made my peace with God, because I tell you what, the real truth is God saved my life, and I believe He's doing something real big here. And I think they murdered the guy before me. The guy before me named Mike Lawhon, and he died 2 weeks before I moved in here. They told me it was an accident, so I didn't think nothing about it. And then after I get shot, I start doing the research, and I find that his death certificate says that he died in Fort Worth. But my neighbor that lived across the street, who was a nurse, credible witness, told me 2 times that he died in my house. And one time she said, "I should know, right?" And then the Odessa American posted that he died in Fort Worth, and then changed it and said he died at his residence. And I got both of them on my Facebook. And I believe the reason they did is because he did die here. They took him to Fort Worth and then sold the house to me. Okay. And so
do you think that's why they didn't want it publicized that he died here? Because he died at your house?
They were selling the house. That's my guess. Well, first, he died on October 12th, 2008. On the 14th, the Odessa American posted that he died in Fort Worth. And then on October 18th, 4 days later, they changed it and said he died here at his residence in Midland. And I think the reason they changed it is because he did die here, as the neighbor said. Marilyn DeLuigi told me that, and he did die here. And they took him to Fort Worth, and so what it did.
Did you know any of that when you bought that house?
All I knew is, as I said, he died, and they told me it was an accident. I thought it was my good fortune at the time, and had no idea. It was 2 years later before I figured out somebody was breaking in this home, and actually I have a video on that tonight. I just posted a video tonight, but so I think they murdered the The last guy. The other thing that happened with Michael Ahn, he died the week before the 2008 oil show started. I think that's significant. I think that's important. And here's the reason being is because in 2010, I worked down at Clay Desk as an IT guy, and I was dating a woman down there, and she told me about this girl that was murdered at a party, at an oil show party, the 2010 oil show, and for refusing to prostitute. And so I tried to get her to go report this because that's what normal people do, right? I mean, that's what you do. And she was afraid and said high-level police were there. So I go to work, and then I get off work, and I get a phone call from a Midland police officer threatening to arrest me if I talk to her again. And I'm trying to get her to go report a murder she told me about that the police were involved in. Okay, so
God damn it, sounds like they're trying to cover some stuff up, buddy.
Right, but let me tell you, during this week, she was leaving my house, going to wherever this party was, 5 minutes away. I think the party was in the $1 million underground facility. So I think there's oil companies involved and big oil money involved, and that's how they've, got the police, basically have paid off these police, the mayor, the sheriff. I've gone up incredible levels. I talked to U.S. Congressman Mike Conaway, and you wouldn't believe who all I've talked to. Hundreds. They've literally stopped free press in America. I've contacted hundreds of reporters across the nation with irrefutable evidence. I've got the police reports. I got the security camera pictures. Like that, as I said earlier, I've got a gang of police caught on cameras and they don't have names. And I believe they were involved in the murder of the last homeowner. Yeah.
Well, buddy, like I asked you, you said everything's credible. Well, I'm not saying it's not, but if that's the case, why do you think? You think it's just a conspiracy or cover-up? Like, why do you think these high levels of people aren't listening? Because that's what irritates
Okay,
me.
here. Let me tell you. Okay. I think I have reason to believe it's connected with human trafficking. Okay, and historically there's a big link between prostitution and the oil field. Okay, this ex comes by my house a couple weeks after I get out of the hospital in 2012, and she comes in and she says, "You don't know how many lives you ruined with your idiocy." Well, my idiocy was staying home and minding my own business, being a good citizen. You know what I mean? I mean, they come to my home with guns and shot me without warning, But what that really said was a lot of people were there and they're going to have their lives ruined. Okay? So where were they? They were in the underground facility. What were they doing? Now, I can only guess, but I have a feeling maybe it has something to do with kids. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, that's my guess, but I don't know that. But that puts a lot of people there what I'm not saying is I don't think a lot of people come to my house to murder me. I think they were there for some other reason, to this secret underground, playground, whatever. And then somebody used them as the cover to murder me. Okay.
Like you happen to be like an innocent bystander.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is that maybe they were even blackmailing the people there, And because now they made them part of a capital attempted murder because they were there. In 2012, I was at the FBI here in Midland, and I told this agent, like I'm telling you, and I said maybe it's an illegal casino brothel, and he said maybe. And that's
exactly. Well, buddy, what do you think? I can call a friend of mine has some backhoes and stuff. Do you think that if you think it's right under your backyard, we can dig things up? Would you like that help?
No, I mean, I don't think digging's the answer, and I could have done that a long time ago. And what I want is I want legitimate law enforcement to get involved. I want the secret police identified. As I tell people, I can find the tunnel entrance in a day without digging. Okay, they're breaking in this house. And like I told my lawyers a couple of years ago, I said, as long as they're breaking into this home, I can find where they're breaking in at. Okay, because this home ain't that big. It's not even 2,000 square foot. And if you're getting in the attic and all the doors are shut, there's only a few places that you can come in. Okay, and so all that's all logical. I've already been through all that. And, I'm only a day. One thing I've got to be very cautious, because I'll end up like the last homeowner, dead in two towns with some lame story. And these people that are on the other side, have a secret police gang working for them and they can stop free press in America. I believe that the real solution is once the public finds out, it'll stop. Okay. And I said this many times with it, you take my testimony out. Okay. My testimony goes away. So then it's not if Buddy thinks or if you think or if anybody thinks, you just show the police reports and you show the pictures, the security camera pictures, and then say, name the police, and that ends it all right there. Okay. And that's not my testimony. That's not your idea. It's nobody's idea. One news story showing the facts, and they would never break into another home or help murder another citizen. But I can't even get that done. Okay. And so that's why I create these videos, and now they're about 1 million views. Okay. I got people from all over the world that's watching this. And you know, and I'm asked most of the questions. You probably can't ask a question I haven't been asked, you know, a dozen times, you know, or more than that actually. And, as far as digging, you know, and then I've answered that over and over, you know, that, and then
if that's the case, buddy,
the solution is,
moving.
there's the next question. I was fixing to say that, you know, don't even ask that question. And because, you know, I've been over and over and over people ask that because that's exactly what they want to happen, right? I mean, you know, that doesn't benefit me. That benefits the killers that murder citizens in their homes. That benefits them dirty cops that help murder people in our homes. You know, it doesn't help me. It doesn't bring justice. I have one goal in life, and that is clearing my name and exposing these criminals that did this to me. You know, and because this ain't one maiming, murder, and mutilation from 5 years ago. This is day in, day out. You know, bolt my door shut. Don't let your drink out of your sight. Burglar alarms going off over and over and over.
Well, buddy, I didn't mean that to offend you. I was just honestly asking.
Right. And some people do that. But some of my answers are, first of all, homes don't kill people. The last homeowner, Mike Lawhon, was 2 weeks away from moving and he's dead. So that should tell you something anyway. That was a horrible idea. You know what I mean? And, you know, and the thing is that homes don't move. Moving is the answer, but it's moving the criminals to prison, you know. And the other thing I say, it's like getting a shoplifter at Walmart. We don't go build another Walmart store. We arrest the shoplifter, you know. And, you know, I mean, there's the thing. We got criminals caught on camera, and they need to go to prison, you know. I mean, that's all there is to it.
But, buddy, if they're all corrupt,
well, that's the thing. I don't believe that all police are corrupt. And that's where I get into that argument is, oh, everybody's corrupt. Well, if that is, we might as well give it up and you know, go for revolution. I don't believe all cops are dirty. And I believe we have very good cops. I'm a big supporter of law enforcement, but I also take a stand against police corruption. I take a stand against police officers that sneak into houses to steal evidence to cover up failed murders for their friends that were going to make $1 million when they murdered somebody. You know, I have a problem with that.
What do they tell you, buddy?
Huh?
Whenever you report this stuff, like what's there, like the police or the sheriff's office, like what do they tell you? Like what's their excuse for not looking into?
What's happened is well, one, right from the beginning they called me crazy. So basically they have ignored me. Okay. And they don't want to acknowledge it. And you know, that's what we started it with that. Well, if they listen to you or they take you serious. No, they're taking me very, very serious because you can't look at the evidence and not know that I'm telling the truth, and some serious crimes have happened here with some serious penalties. Okay. And you know, and that's what their problem is they don't want to send these cops, especially some of these hometown cops like April Chandler and Rosie Rodriguez, to prison for the rest of their law-breaking, bad, shaming, you know, embarrassing Texas lives. You know, but they made a choice, you know, and I really believe that they're just small change. You know, I mean, that's obvious, right? They probably were promised a promotion or a vacation. It's money people that's behind this, you know. It's money people that put it in. It's money people that are making the money off the, you know, the human trafficking. It's racketeering is what it is. But the evidence is them cops. And I give God all the praise and glory. This is a miracle. I believe that I am right where I'm supposed to be. I believe God saved my life. They planned my death in advance, checked my life insurance booklets, knew, they were above me, below me. They got their gang of dirty cops. They can stop the press from reporting the news and warning, the public. And I'm still alive and I'm still talking. That's a miracle, And the last story, which I haven't talked about, is Chad Simpson. Are you familiar with that?
Well, that was my next question. Is that police officer that killed himself, that killed his wife, good-looking wife?
Okay, exactly. Okay, so Chad and Sandra Simpson. Okay, here's what happened. Okay, that happened. The murder-suicide. Okay, it happened on December 15th, 2014. On December 13th, 2014, 2 days before the murder-suicide, and you go to my Facebook and look this up on my timeline, I posted a story called Rape and Murder. Okay. And I had a picture of my security camera picture of the guy in my house wearing a Midland K9 police jacket. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the story talked about the young girl that was murdered for refusing to prostitute while the police were there, etc. And then it talked about the cop that called me on the phone. And I put in that story, all you have to do is check my phone records, and then you find out which cop called me. Thus, that was the one that helped cover up that rape and murder. Okay. Mm-hmm. I posted that to my Facebook. 2 days later, Chad murders his wife and kills himself. Okay, Chad was a K9 police officer.
Oh my goodness!
See, I believe he's the one that called me. And more than that, Chad and Sandra are from my hometown because I was transferred here with DCP Midstream in 2008 from Hobbs to Mexico. Chad and Sandra are both from Hobbs. I think somebody from Hobbs called Sandra and said, "Look what Buddy's posting." She went and looked. She recognized her husband in my house. She read this story about this little girl being raped and murdered, confronted her husband. He shot her and killed her. His life's ruined and he killed himself. That's what I believe happened. Okay. And so.
Oh, well, they were both from where you were, right, Buddy?
Huh? Yes, they were from Hobbs, which is 100 miles away, right?
Buddy, that coincidence doesn't make sense other than how you're saying it.
Well, I laid out the facts is what I did. And so, it makes a lot of sense, right? And
it makes sense now listening to you, but otherwise it doesn't. And I'm so sorry you're dealing with this, buddy, because that makes so much sense. And I can't believe our Midland police officers are involved in corruption like that.
Let me tell you one more story.
Hold on, buddy.
Okay.
I'm trying to tell you, a lot of people would call somebody like you crazy, but I've looked up your stuff, and with what you told me, that's not just by the way, coincidence.
Right,
That's
exactly.
Something, and that really scares me about our law enforcement here in Midland, Odessa. And I'm so sorry, buddy.
Well, thank you. Let me tell you one more, okay? And I told you that happened December of 2014. Okay. The first two secret police, they're on video, okay? The first two are on video, and they're in 10 Yes, sir? You still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. They're in 10 uniforms like DPS, sheriff, Texas Ranger wears. Okay, you can tell that. You can see their police cars. They showed up 19 minutes after I crawled out, wasn't dispatched, etc. I already said that. Okay, I've asked the question. I asked Gary Painter in an email if one of them was the late Sheriff Deputy Mike Naylor. Okay, remember the sheriff deputy got killed in the line of duty?
Yeah, he got killed out there on 1788, yeah.
Right, okay. That was 2 months before Chad and Sandra, before the murder-suicide. Mike Naylor's also from Hobbs.
Mike Naylor's from Hobbs too?
That's what I was told. Well, I think he lived in Hobbs. I think he's actually from Gaines County or somewhere.
Oh my God.
But yeah, he has many friends in Hobbs. And so that once again, and the other person from Hobbs that should have been doing something was the district attorney at the time, Teresa Klingman. And she's no longer district attorney, as you know, right? But her brother used to.
That. I thought she was still the one.
Yeah, Nodoff is now because of the election. Well, actually, she stepped down, right? Klingman did, but her brother used to be my attorney, and she's from Hobbs. And I sent her pictures of secret police. She should have been filing charges. That's her job. You know what I'm saying? Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that's their job, you know. If anything, you identify them, you know. I mean, that's where you start. Even before you charge them with a crime, you got to tell us who they are, because we can't have secret police gangs. I mean, because you could call them, they could show up at your house. You don't know who they are. You have the right to know who they are, as well as I do. Everybody does, because they're our police force.
But what did the hospital say? That's what irritates me, and that's the main reason, buddy, I called you. The hospital substantiate what you say?
Well, I got, you know, what I'm telling you, I get from medical records, okay? And they're all posted on my Facebook and stuff. So I went and pulled all my medical records. So there's a whole nother set of crimes on the hospital side, okay? The medical crimes. And here, okay, here's the story. Because you're pretty new to my stuff, I can tell that, you know, if you followed it for a while, you would have heard this already. But, okay, a couple months, I was married for 3 months, right? Separated a month before I shot. During that time I was married, that ex-wife, who was a nurse, okay, comes in one day and she says, with 100% sincerity, she says, the secret is a group of doctors are killing people for profit. Okay? I believed her then, I believe her now. Now, I don't have that recorded. So that one you got to take my word on. But my word has pretty much been proven over and over and over, you know. But she told me that, okay? What she didn't tell me was that her brother-in-law was a doctor, okay? He turned out to be...
You're in Midland or Odessa?
Yeah, in the area. And I don't name them names because of legal reasons right now. But yeah, but he turned out to be my doctor at the hospital the night I'm shot. Okay. I didn't even know I had a brother-in-law that was a doctor. Okay. And so that night is when x-rays were falsified. They tried to cut my leg off. Okay, showing me false x-rays, and that's also on my Facebook and in my YouTube videos. And
right.
Yes.
But your ex-wife at the time had a family member that was a doctor, and that was when they tried to do that?
Yes, I'll go back over it. A couple months before I'm shot, when I was married, she come in and says, the secret is a group of doctors are killing people for profit. I believe these doctors were turning me into profit, okay? That's what I believe that's who's behind it. Okay.
Yeah,
but what she didn't tell me was that
but I'm so sorry. This is so crazy, and I'm so sorry for you. But go on.
But what she didn't tell me was that her brother-in-law was a doctor. And come to find out, he was the ER doctor at the hospital on the night I was shot. That night is when x-rays were falsified. They put somebody else's foot and put my name on it. And I have that x-ray on my Facebook for anybody to review. I mean, there is no way you can look at that and claim otherwise. It was falsified. The x-rays were faked. Okay. And then they tried to cut my leg off. And why did they do that? Because they were trying to call a failed murder that was going to make a lot of money a accident. Okay. Because a murder sends people to prison, right? You know?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And you know, they didn't come over here and cut my phone lines. And the reason I crawled out is because my phone lines were cut. Okay, let's get that straight. So they didn't come to my house and cut my phone lines and shoot me from a foot away directly at an artery, okay, planning on me to live. Okay, I'm supposed to be dead. It was going to be an accident. She would have got the house, paid for a house next door to this underground facility, okay? And plus, if it's ruled an accident,